Hello and welcome to Eastern Belgium, or if you were with us yesterday, welcome back to Zolder. It is round 4 of TCR Europe 2020, our second race of the weekend. And if you were with us yesterday, you'll have seen, nearly a lights to flag victory, but we'll talk about that more in a moment. It's Mark James in the commentary box. You're very welcome to this very warm, slightly overcast, but dry day here in Eastern Belgium. We are around an hour east of Brussels, I suppose about midway between Brussels and Dusseldorf, to give you an idea where we are in Central Europe. 20 cars entered for this weekend. We had 14 finishers yesterday. Some dramas, as you'll have seen if you were with us for race 1. You'll have seen both the Beckmans retire, which caused a late night again for target competition, repairing Andreas Beckman's car. Jessica Beckman's car not damaged as such, just stranded in the sand, the mud at the side of the track and having to be recovered. But we will talk more about that in a moment. There is a slight delay to the green flag lap because of the slight overrun to the previous race. But that is the man on pole position. It's Dan Lloyd, current championship leader. If you're looking at the TCR Europe website, you'll see that Dan has a 1-point lead after 3 races. And of course, he took victory in race 1 at Le Castellet 3 weekends ago. But it's Mike Halder, not his sister there. You're seeing Michelle Halder, who is alongside Dan on the front row of the grid for race 2. It is Mike Halder, brother Mike, who's on row 3 of the grid for this afternoon's race, who is just 1 point behind Dan. And it was Mike that took the win in race 2 at Le Castellet in the south of France in our opening race weekend. There is Andreas Beckman, the car looking a lot better than it did yesterday afternoon. Target competition once again relying on the fact that they've got, I won't say a truck full of cars, but they're in the fortunate position that they have the car that did, let me have a think, TCR Germany at the Nürburgring, which would be about 4 weekends ago now. It already donated some parts to the rebuild after Andreas's accident at Le Castellet. Yet more bits being taken off the car. As I understand it, the front of the car is a completely rebuilt version of the car that we saw yesterday. And having had a chance to look at both incidents, we did say, where is Philippe? No idea. We have had a chance to look at the 2 incidents, the stewards deciding that both were racing incidents, Jessica being very fair and saying, look, I wasn't assisted, I wasn't involved in an incident at all, it was just me going off, I ran slightly wide, went over the mud, the sand at the side of the road and went off. Andreas not so fortunate, he made contact with the Audi of Sami Tofik and went off heavily into the wall, damaging the front of the car. So that was the reason for the rebuild. Julien Brichet is on row 2 of the grids alongside Andreas Beckman you saw a moment or so ago. And Julien, like Andreas, not finishing race 1. And we, at the time, didn't know what the problem was. He just pulled up. It turns out it was just, from what I can make out, from the slightly broken French-English communication between myself and the engineer this morning. We think it was a steering arm, track control arm, that kind of thing. So a fairly small breakage in the car and forcing Julien to pull up. Danny Nage just narrowly missing out on a podium place yesterday. Matto Homola, his teammate, finishing 3rd. Danny Nage 4th yesterday. Mike Halder, there he is. What can he do? Starting alongside Danny Nage on row 3 of the grid. Row 4 of the grid, Sami Tofik, there he is, in one of the 3 come-to-you Audi RS3 LMS cars. It was his teammate, Nicolas Bart, that took the win yesterday. And there is Mehdi Benani in the team's other car. And you have to say the weekend so far has been very kind to Audi, to put it mildly. Come to you, of course, on their home track, Nicolas Bart on his home track. And you saw yesterday the delight of Nicolas and his dad, Jean-Michel Bart, the team boss of Come to You Racing. And there is Matto Homola in the number 70 BRC Hyundai i30N. And Matto will start from row 5 of the grid. Alongside, there he is, Nicolas Bart, who was on pole yesterday. And as I mentioned earlier, almost a lights to flag victory. Apart from about a quarter of the first lap, it was Matto Homola who I think caught Nicolas Bart napping on the start line. Homola getting past going into turn 1, but it was heading down towards the chicane. The back of the paddock, turns 5 and 6, where Nicolas Bart got back in touch, and then that was it. He was away. There was a safety car period, there was a full course yellow period, and Nicolas Bart managed both beautifully to take his first win in TCR Europe. In fact, he was telling me yesterday his first car race victory. So very, very pleased. And the team having a great weekend in the first of 2 races, or 2 race weekends in their home country. We are in Spa at the end of October, but in 2 weeks' time we will be at the Cathedral of Speed in Monza, followed by Barcelona 2 weeks after that, then it's Spa, and then we finish the very shortened season, the very compressed season back in Spain at Jarama near Madrid in early November. So we are looking at row 7 of the grid. Teddy Claret, you saw a moment ago, Jessica Beckman there. And I also mentioned yesterday that Jessica's cars had a change of look. Traditionally, Jessica went for the pink lipstick around the radiator grille, the line at the bonnet, and also the mirrors. She's now changed to blue. Her brother Andreas is sporting a sort of day glow yellow, and there, perfect timing, you can see the green highlights on the 3rd and final target competition car of John Filippi, who was on pole in Le Castellet, was quickest in free practice 1 on Friday here, but languishing back on row 8 of the grid here. And then towards the back of the grid, it's an all Peugeot affair. Florian Brichet failing to finish yesterday. Gilles Colombani from the Claret Sport team in another of the Peugeot 308s. And the back row of the grid, again, 2 Peugeots. Stefan Vontager, there he is on the right of your screen in the final Claret Sport car, the number 81 Peugeot 308. And alongside him on the grid, Jean-Laurent Navarro in the final JSB Competition Peugeot 308. Navarro qualified last, but also had an engine change, and so that was the reason he and Julien Brichet started from right at the back yesterday. But Brichet, as you can see there on the left of your screen, row 2 of the grid, what can he do today? Well, we'll see in about half an hour's time. Dan Lloyd then starts from pole. Michel Halder alongside alongside Andreas Beckman and Julien Brichet, row 2, Danny Nage and Mike Halder, row 3, Sami Tofik and Mehdi Benani. Row 4, Matteo Homola, Nicolas Bart. Row 5, row 6 is Martin Rieber, Pepe Oriola for Brutal Fish. Row 7, Teddy Claret, Jessica Beckman. Row 8, Jimmy Claret and John Filippi. Row 9, Florian Brichet and Gilles Colombani. And row 10, right at the back of the field, Stefan Vontager and Jean-Laurent Navarro. That's our 20 runners and riders. In fact, all 20 entered for the weekend. We'll start this second race. We had 14 finishers yesterday, with a number of incidents. As I mentioned, safety car came out for a couple of laps. Full course yellow came out for a couple of laps. And so 2 laps added to the 14-lap race distance. What will happen this afternoon? And in Le Castellet, it was very much a Honda weekend, with Dan Lloyd winning race 1, Mike Halder winning race 2. Dan carrying 60 kilos of success ballast here in Belgium this weekend. Mike Halder carrying 30. And I think quite surprised, being honest. If you speak to Mike, I don't think he realized that he'd be in this position with such a late entry for both Mike and his sister Michelle into the TCR Europe season. But a win and a second place out of 3 races. Thank you very much, he says. That will do nicely. Teddy Claret, one of the 4 Claret Sport Peugeots. 4 brands, incidentally, represented on the grid here this weekend. 3 Audis, 5 Hondas, 5 Hyundais, 7 Peugeots, 4 run by Team Claret, 3 run by JSB. The only other thing I wanted to mention after yesterday, before the season started, the Yokohama Trophy was announced, and it will in fact be split into 2. I did try and explain yesterday, but in fact the Yokohama Trophy, both for rookies, and so bizarrely our race winner yesterday, Nicola Bart both took the points for the win and also took maximum points in the Yokohama Trophy. But also there's now the diamond category for, there's no easy way of putting this, older drivers, drivers over 40, and the maximum points in that category taken by Martin Rieber of Brutal Fish. And I mentioned Jessica Beckman being very honest yesterday, or this morning I should say, and saying no, there was no incident. We saw her accident yesterday pretty much towards the end of it. She came into shot sideways and then off at the side of the road. But Andreas did make contact with Sami Tofik, but the stewards, having looked at it from several angles, including a number of onboard cameras, saying no, racing incident, and so no further action taken. Navarro then, the 20th and last car to line up on the grid. We are moments away from round 4 of the 2020 TCR Europe season here in Zolder in Belgium. Hang on to your hats. This has the potential to be an absolute cracker. Watch Dan Lloyd on the right of your screen. On the left is Michel Halder. The revs rise. And we're away. Cleanly, it would appear. Down towards the left-hander, the square left, and indeed Michel Halder has already got past Dan Lloyd for the lead. So, first place having changed hands already. Still Honda 1-2, and that's Brichet. Brichet and Andreas Beckman. Brichet P4 on the grid, Beckman P3, and they are already out into the gravel on the outside of turn 2. Question mark over Nage's start, possibly a jump start for Nage off the line. We'll take a look at that. But the big news from the first couple of corners of this race is that Julien Brichet and Andreas Beckman, both potential championship contenders. That's one of the Brutal Fish cars. That's Martin Rieber, team leader, off but through the gravel and continuing. As we watch them come through one of the 3 chicanes here. Michel Halder then, leading Dan Lloyd. Then there's a slight gap to Danny Nage. Then Mike Halder. And we'll see if we can take another look at the start in a moment. Behind Danny Nage, there is Mike Halder. So Michel leads from Dan Lloyd, then Danny Nage, then Mike Halder. Behind Mike Halder is Sami Tofik. Yep, 19 and 24 under investigation already, so no surprise. So 19 and 24, Andreas Beckman and Julien Brichet. That incident under investigation. Brichet is still running. He's come through sector 1, but Andreas Beckman still stranded. Michel Halder half a second already up on Dan Lloyd. Danny Nage in 3rd, Mike Halder 4th. Then it's Mehdi Benani. Then Mato Homola. Then Nicola Bart, Sami Tofik, Pepe Oriola and Teddy Claret. That's your top 10. And we're on lap 2 of 14. And Mato Homola is forced to take to the curbs through the chicane. And when we get our breath back, we'll take another look at that start. Watch for Danny Nage, who was 3rd row of the grid. P5 he started. Nicola Bart just having a look at the inside of Mato Homola. Behind Bart is his teammate Sami Tofik. Jessica Beckman. Jimmy Claret that was with Jessica. That's P11, P12. Beneath me, the leader's now on her 3rd lap. Michel Halder now 7/10 up on Dan Lloyd. Danny Nage a further 1.4 seconds back. So Honda, Hyundai, Mike Halder fourth in another Honda, then Mehdi Benani in the first of the Audis, then Mato Homola Hyundai, Nicola Bart, Sami Tofik, two more Audis, Pape Oriola Honda. The first of the Peugeots is Teddy Claret in 10th, with his brothers Jimmy in 11th, then Jessica Beckman, Jean-Philippe in the final target car, Florian Brichet Peugeot in 14th, Jean-Laurent Navarro that is Nicola Bart diving up the inside of Mato Homola, who takes to the curb, but will, I suspect, have to give the position back. And indeed, Bart has the position for the left-hander. So Nicola Bart moves up another place, takes P6 away from Mato Homola. And already Homola under pressure from Sami Tofik in the other LMS, the Audi RS3 LMS, in 8th place. And according to my timing screen, Julien Brichet is still circulating. He's been into the pits and come back out. But no such luck for Andreas Beckman. So we're on lap 4 of 14. Michel Halder now, a lead of 0.8 of a second over Dan Lloyd. Honda 1-2 at the moment. Danny Nage in third, Mike Halder fourth, Mehdi Benani fifth. Then there was that swap we saw. Nicola Bart, Mato Homola, Pape Oriola, there he is. With Sami Tofik coming at him. Tofik tries to go around the outside. Oriola having none of it. That's the scrap for 8th place. Oriola having got past Sami Tofik on the last lap. And then Teddy Claret rounding off. There he is in the red Claret Sports Peugeot in 10th place. Best lap of the race so far, a 1:38.766 from Michel Halder, who is, you have to say, controlling this race. She got into the lead at turn 1, past our pole sitter Dan Lloyd, who is heavy, remember, carrying 60 kilos of success ballast, but it's Michel Halder. And could she become the first female driver to win a round of TCR Europe? Already 0.8 up on Dan Lloyd. Now this is the start replay. Difficult to see from that angle what happened with Danny Nage, but he's certainly up there. And then in the run down for turn 2, watch the incident, this incident, contact between Julien Brichet and Andreas Beckman. And that looked as though Brichet was going for a gap that Andreas clearly felt was his. And that's the moment we saw with Martin Rieber getting muscled off at the chicane. 3 cars now under investigation, 7, 19 and 24. So Mike Halder also now under investigation for that incident. But there is Danny Nage, scrapping with Mike Halder, defending 3rd place at the moment. There's a gap of 1.5 seconds now between Danny Nage. And also under investigation is Martin Rieber's incident on lap 1. We saw a replay of it a moment ago. That was at turn 6, coming out of the first chicane, the Thierry Boutsen chicane. Nicola Bart's now gone quickest, setting the best lap of the race so far, a 1:38.485. Michel Halder now just a whisker under 1 second clear of Dan Lloyd. There is our race leader, Michel Halder, then Dan Lloyd, then Danny Nage, then Mike Halder, then Mehdi Benani, then Nicola Bart, then Mato Homola is 7th, Pape Oriola is 8th, Sami Tofik is 9th, then Teddy Claret, Jessica Beckman is up into 11th. Jimmy Claret has fallen down the order. John Filippi just got past Jessica into 11th. Jessica now 12th. Florian Brichet 13th. Jimmy Claret 14th. Jean-Laurent Navarro is 15th. Then Gilles Colombani and Stefan Vontager. Then Martin Rieber. And Julien Brichet still circulating, but not Andreas Beckmann. So 19 of the 20 still running. And Julien Brichet a couple of laps down, unsurprisingly, after his visit to the pit. We've not seen him. As Mike Halder just takes a little look, but too far behind Danny Nage to have any real chance of passing. So an incident-packed opening lap here in this second race of the weekend of TCR Europe. After that, it's settled down. There goes Dan Lloyd, there is Danny Nage, there is Mike Halder, there is Mehdi Benani, there is Sami Tawfik. Sorry, excuse me, Nicola Bart, I should say, in the Audi. Behind Bart is Matto Homola, something like 1.3 seconds down. There is Jimmy Claret, who has passed Florian Brichet for 13th. Now, Jimmy was just behind Teddy in 11th. So there is Jimmy, there is Florian Brichet, Julien's son, and the gap between Danny Nage and Mike Halder, fairly confident, fairly constant, 6/10 just over between third and fourth at the moment. Halfway through the race now, we're on lap 7 of 14. Michel Halder leads Dan Lloyd by 1.3 seconds. Then a further 2.3 back to Danny Nage in third. Mike Halder, 6/10 behind Danny Nage in fourth. Then Mehdi Benani, Nicola Bart, Matto Homola, Pepe Oriola, Sami Tawfik, Teddy Claret, John Filippi, Jessica Beckmann, Jimmy Claret, Florian Brichet, and Navarro, Jean-Laurent Navarro. That's your top 15. Getting a warning flag for track limits at turn 9. That's coming out of the chicane, the second chicane. And I mentioned yesterday, Pepe Oriola currently 8th, having had a nightmare qualifying on Saturday morning. Front splitter of the car broke. He was delayed probably 2 minutes or so at the beginning of Q2 while the team sorted the front of the car out. Then there was a red flag, which meant he couldn't set a competitive time. And at the end of qualifying, I think he only had time for one decent lap, which was only enough for P12. And Dan Lloyd getting a warning flag for the same place, coming out of the second chicane, the Villeneuve chicane, turn 9. And at the top of your screen, Matto Homola defending from Pepe Oriola's all over the place, squirreling under braking. The Honda right up behind the Hyundai. But look just behind. And the Audi, Sami Tawfik, the 25 Audi, right up behind Pepe Oriola. This is a decent scrap for 7th, 8th and 9th. Hyundai versus Honda versus Audi. Matto Homola, podium finish for him yesterday, P3. And can his teammate Danny Nage do the same today? No mention of a jump start, nothing under investigation for Danny Nage. Michel Halder now nearly 1.4 seconds clear of Dan Lloyd. There's this scrap we've been watching. Matto Homola in 7th. That's the scene on the pit wall at the Target competition team. Bitter disappointment for them. They worked so hard. I think they were here until midnight last night working on Andreas's car and then working again today because of the fairly relaxed timetable for TCR Europe, just the one race today, so they were able to finish off the repairs this morning instead of pulling an all-nighter like they've done in the past. 1.6 seconds now, Michelle Halder, who is on her 9th lap of 14. And the gaps between Matteo Homola, Pepe Oriola and Sami Tofik opening up. There is our race leader, Michelle Halder. The distinctive day-glow yellow flashes on the front of the Honda. Dan Lloyd in 2nd place. Dan came into this race with a 1-point lead in the Drivers' Series over Michelle's brother, Mike. There is Mike Halder. Currently P4 behind Danny Nage. And the gap between the two, officially 6/10. It looks a lot closer than that. Like Matteo Homola, Danny Nage could really do with a podium finish to get his championship off to a flying start finally, after a disappointing weekend for both BRC Hyundais in Le Castellet. The temperatures in the early 20s here. What effect that will have on tyres as we come into the final third of this race. So along the long right-hander, Lucien Bianchi, that gets the cars back onto the back straight. There they are. There's the paddock on the right-hand side. They then head down to the first of the chicanes, the Thierry Boutsen chicane, turns 5 and 6. Mike Halder again has a little look. Just not close enough to Danny Nage. And Danny making that Hyundai very wide indeed. Mike will have to use all his racecraft if he's to finish on the podium this afternoon. But at the moment, it is Mike's sister, Michelle Halder. Can she make it 2 Halder victories, 2 Profi Car Team Halder victories from 4 races? It was her brother who won the 2nd race in France. Can she win the 2nd race? And that's the confident, but I'm sure slightly nervous look from the pit wall down at the Profi Car Team Halder area. So then through turns 15 and 16, the 3rd and final chicane. Still Homola holding Pepe Oriola at bay. Homola P7, Pepe Oriola P8, Sami Tofik, there he is, P9. Then Homola, then Oriola, then Tofik. Still worth watching this scrap, I think. Around turn 1 into turn 2. You see on the exit, the pit lane exit there on the left-hand side, around the right-hander at turn 3. Around turn 4 to the back of the paddock. Somebody's run wide. Pepe Oriola takes a little look, but no indeed. Homola keeps the position into the chicane at turn 5. Somebody else getting a warning for track limits. Martin Rieber, car 17, getting warning for track limits coming out of the chicane. 2nd chicane then. This is turns 8 and 9. Further down the order, Florian Brichet has dropped back, so Jean-Laurent Navarro up to P14, Gilles Colombani into the points in 15. Also moving up, Stefan Vontaja and Martin Rieber, and Florian Brichet dropping to P18. Danny Nage getting a warning for track limits, so they're all getting warnings. Michelle Halder comes across the line to start her 12th lap. The gap now nearly 2 seconds between Michelle and Dan Lloyd in 2nd. And another 2 seconds between Dan Lloyd and Danny Nage, who's still hanging on to 3rd place from Mike Halder. Then there's this scrap that we've been watching. Mato Homola, P7 still. P8 is Pepe Oriola. P9 is Sami Tofik, but the three have closed up. What fireworks can we expect from these three in the last couple of laps of this race? Colombani, P15, Stefan Vontager, P16, the two teammates. 66 is Colombani, 81 is Vontager. And then Martin Rieber, you saw, there he is, just in close attendance, P17, excuse me, for Martin Rieber. Pepe Oriola pressuring Mato Homola. And there is that scrap we were talking about a moment ago between the two Peugeots and Rieber. 15, 16 and 17, Colombani, Vontager and Rieber. And this is the scrap for the final point for 15th place. Meanwhile, it goes on. Tofik up alongside Pepe Oriola. Has the Audi got the advantage? No! He just misses out, nosing ahead for a moment, but indeed Oriola had the line. Homola hangs on to 7th, Oriola to 8th, and Tofik to 9th. Meanwhile, in the other battle we were watching, Rieber just taking a look at the inside of Stefan Vontager. And while we were looking at that, Oriola has passed Homola. So Pepe Oriola has moved up into 7th. Hopefully we'll get that as a replay. But Pepe Oriola has finally moved past Mato Homola. Oriola moves into 7th. Mato Homola now 8th. And Sami Tofik also determined. Was there a little nudge there? Tofik up the inside, doesn't quite have the legs, and so the Hyundai keeps the Audi at bay. Meanwhile, Teddy Claire moves up right behind Tofik. So, another battle now. This is the moment. Pepe Oriola dives up the inside. This is the final chicane. Turns 15 and 16. That's the moment at which Pepe Oriola took 7th place away from Mato Homola. And already Oriola is up the road, leaving Homola to defend from Sami Tofik. We're on the penultimate lap of this race. And this is where Sami Tofik just, I think, nosed ahead. Probably the next corner we didn't see. But he's determined to do something about Mato Homola. Homola 8th, Tofik 9th, Teddy Claire, there he is in the red striped Peugeot 308, is 10th. So this battle isn't yet settled either. Pepe Oriola up in 7th is still 3.8 seconds or so behind Nicolas Bart, who's in 8th. But our leader, Michel Halder, is on the final lap. As once again Tofik just weaves to break the toe behind Homola. The Audi alongside the Hyundai very briefly, but the next couple of corners are all right-handers, and so Homola has the line. Also up behind him is Teddy Claire. Claire moves up the inside of the Audi. And he doesn't quite have the legs to move up the inside of the Hyundai. So, on this final lap, Teddy Claire moves past Sami Tofik. As we see the scrap for the final podium position, I think Danny Nage has done enough. So there is Homola, there is Tofik, there is Teddy Claire, with Jean-Philippe in 11th, just behind. But there indeed is our race leader, Michel Halder, who out-dragged Dan Lloyd to turn 1 and has led the race ever since. 1.9 seconds the gap now with Michel Halder. And anything Big Brother Mike can do, Michel can do as well. 2 corners left, Michel Halder. In the Profi cars, Sami Tofik runs wide on this final lap. And flashing the lights across the line, Michel Halder takes the victory in round 4 of TCR Europe 2020. 2 race wins for the team from 4 races. 1 for Mike, 1 for Michel. And what a decision, the correct decision it would appear, to switch from TCR Germany to TCR Europe. The team must be delighted, and Michelle Halder makes a little bit of history in becoming the first female driver to win a round of TCR Europe. Here at Zolder this weekend, let's run down the order. Michelle Halder wins from Dan Lloyd by nearly 2 seconds. Danny Nage is third, Mike Halder fourth, Mehdi Benani fifth, Nicolas Bart is sixth, Pepe Oriola seventh, Mato Homola kept Teddy Claret at bay, John Filippi finished 10th. And this was the moment, a little tap from Mato Homola sends Taufik wide. So Jessica Beckman finished 11th, Taufik 12th, Jimmy Claret 13th, Jean-Laurent Navarro was 14th, and Stefan Vontager 15th, beating Gilles Colombani and Martin Rieber in that scrap we were watching. And outside the points, Florian Brichet, his dad Julian Brichet, and out right at the start of the race, turn 2, Andreas Beckman. Bitter disappointment for him and for target competition. That late night rebuild after yesterday came to naught. 2 DNFs for Andreas. And for Jessica, unfortunately, just one 11th place as reward for the weekend. John Filippi finishing 10th for target. But it's once again a Honda 1-2. So, Jas, I know are here. I saw Mads Fischer in the paddock earlier. From Jas, he will be delighted. As will Brutal Fish, as will Dan Lloyd, who will remain as points leader in the Drivers' Championship after the Zolder race weekend. And that does shuffle things up. And would you place a bet at this point in the season? And we thought that the BRC team would be strong, but indeed 2 podium finishes here in Zolder, and so both Mato Homola and Danny Nage have got their championship campaigns off to a start. But really, Mike Halder and Michelle now race winners in TCR Europe. We'll hear from Michelle very shortly, but she will be absolutely delighted. 2 race wins in TCR Germany for Michelle, and now a victory in TCR Europe. Another decent result for Dan Lloyd. He is first to pull into the Mini Parc Fermé. There is Massimo from the technical team trying to get everybody into position. Danny Nage to the right of your screen, leaving space in the middle for Michelle Halder, our race winner, to pull in. And celebration from Dan Lloyd, but there, right at the back of the order, coming in with the car now in pit lane mode. You see the headlights flashing. That's the speed limiter as the cars enter the pit lane. So Michelle Halder will be marshalled into position in the Mini Parc Fermé to take the congratulations of the team. You can hear the cheers already. And so 1 win apiece for Mike and Michelle Halder. Do you know, I think she's quite pleased at herself, and I think that she has every right to be pleased with herself. Congratulations from the team. Very much a kind of family affair. Everybody delighted. And proof that really you don't need the massive money and a huge sort of team behind you. Congratulations from Dan Lloyd. And there is Mads, I mentioned, Mads Fischer from Jas. Congratulating Michelle. We'll let her take her helmet, the hands device, and the balaclava off, and then she'll be talking to Annette Kuvari very shortly. Big beaming smile you can see inside her race helmet. And the slightly unusual situation where you have two sets of brothers and sisters. So the two Beckmans and the two Halders, also then facing another couple of siblings in the Claires, Teddy and Jimmy. We did a social media video, which you may have seen from Le Castellet, between the Beckmans and the Halders. But we'll catch up with our race winner very shortly. Confirmation of the result then. Michel Halder takes the win from Dan Lloyd. Danny Nage is third. Mike Halder is fourth. Mehdi Benani fifth. Nicolas Bart sixth. Then it's Pepe Oriola, Mato Homola, Teddy Claret and John Filippi rounding off the top 10. And behind those 10, points down to 15th place. 11th, Jessica Beckman. 12th, Sami Tofik. 13th, Jimmy Claret. 14th, Jean-Laurent Navarro. And Stefan Vontage in 15th place. Outside the points, Gilles Colombani, Martin Rieber, Florian Brichet, Julien Brichet, and a non-finisher, Andreas Beckman. Let's head down then to pit lane, and Annette Kuvari is with our race winner.
A well-deserved victory for Michel Halder, who is the first woman winner ever in TCR Europe. You've written history.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I had a great start, and after that I drive on the first corner on the lead, and after that it was my race because I was so fast and no mistakes, and I'm so happy to win here in Zolder. I wasn't here before, and then I win. It's just incredible, and to be the history to the first female driver, it's just amazing.
It's a great result for your team, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Yesterday Mike was second, today I won, and Mike I think third, I don't know really, but it's just amazing. I'm really, really happy with that.
Misha, the podium and the champagne is waiting for you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Bravo.
You know, I don't think the tears are very far off. That's a very emotional win for Michel Halder. A hug from Annette as Michel Halder takes the congratulations of the team as we relive race 2 here in Zolder. So then to the podium ceremony for our top 3 drivers, a representative from the winning team, and also potentially the leading finisher in the Yokohama Trophy. First onto the podium will be Danny Nage, there he goes. Second, Dan Lloyd.
At Circuit Zolder, it's very special. It's ladies first. It's Michel Halder.
And cheers for Michel Halder. A fist bump for Danny Nage. And Profi Team Halder, a representative from the team. And so, next, the national anthem for the winning driver. Congratulations then to Michel Halder taking the win, and in this, as the circuit commentator is explaining, no presentation these days of the trophies, so they're just left on the podium together with the champagne for the top three to pick up. So, together, folks, for the picture. Trying to remember social distancing. And so let's grab the champagne. And Michelle, the target for both Danny Naj and Dan Lloyd. It's funny the things you notice. All three drivers, despite the different height of the podium steps, all pretty much the same height. So Michelle Halder around the same height as Dan Lloyd and around the same height as Danny Naj, who is probably the tallest driver in the paddock. So, highlights of our second race at Zolder. Round 3 is at the Cathedral of Speed in Monza in 2 weeks' time. We'll see you there.